So with this project, I'm digging into my Painty paper tub, which basically is any paper towel or paper that has paint on it. I have a tendency to keep those because I might can use it one day in one of my pieces. So I'm using my paper towel and I'm kind of going off of the colors on that. I'm also using some sheet music I got in a estate sale, pattern paper, tissue paper, and that rose color paper is a gel print that I made from wallpaper sampling that I got from Zero Landfill this year. So I was excited to be able to incorporate that. I like to lay them out to kind of have an idea where I'm going to glue everything, and then I set some aside so that I can hopefully remember where I put them. Doesn't always happen, but anyway, that's kind of the goal. So I'm fixing them to the paper with a matte medium. It's a gel medium. The one that I'm using is one, I think it's Daler Romney. I get it from Walmart. I love this one because it dries clear. Liquitex is another one I really like because it dries clear. Um, Here I'm adding some Marabou art crayons. If you have not played with these are super fun. They're water soluble, so you can kind of scribble them on there. And then I just wet my finger and kind of smudged them around so they blended a little bit better. And then I can see where I needed some more color. These are great art crayons. They are, I don't know how to explain it, kind of like a velvety soft. They're just buttery and really easy to work with. Here I took one layer of a 3-layer napkin, the back side of it, and I'm just putting that on there to just kind of put all that color in the background. I didn't want it too bright, but it allows me to be able to still see the music and the different papers that I have on there without dulling it using gesso over the whole thing. So trimming the edges of the paper on my art journal. Have this hummingbird, which is what I wanted to use on here. I had a completely different plan for it, but I really, really like the way that this turned out instead. So I kind of fussy cutted that. I did add some gesso with a brayer just to kind of mute it down a little bit, and then used a little bit of that gesso over this stencil. This is also a Marabou stencil, and just kind of added some of that art crayon rose color kind of back into there. Glued the hummingbird on there, and then was trying to trace around the flowers with a Sharpie extra fine pen. Probably would have been better to wait till it was completely dry, like the next day, instead of just using the hair dryer. It marked a lot easier. I had that scratch paper there because I think it just kind of, there was stuff getting on my pen. So I had to lick it and then scribble to make sure it came back. But it works much, much better if you just let it dry for an hour or so, or overnight and come back to it. It works much better. But I just wanted to get this scribble effect around these flowers. I just wanted something really loose, and really liked the way that this turned out. And then I was going to put the bird in a swing, but then I decided I would rather have it flying, and so I have a stencil that had a hummingbird on there, so I just used the wings off of that stencil. Then I just painted over the bird because that bright green that was on the bird wasn't matching anything. So I just painted black over the bird and used that. I got the hummingbird from a magazine, so I have a little tub that I have a lot of little clippings from magazines that I can use in the art journal. And since I don't draw really well, I did not get that gift from my dad. I like using those things just to kind of be able to paint over so it looks like I know how to draw. Little secret there. And here I'm just adding some metallic paints on top to just kind of make that bird pop a little bit. Added a little bit of black to the metallic for that bottom part of the tail. Then I'm just using that same paint that I used on the hummingbird and just kind of putting it on the flowers and then some on the background just to incorporate that color throughout the piece. And then when I got done with that, I did the same thing with the throat and the head for the different color using, couldn't find the metallic color that I really wanted and ended up just mixing a couple of colors, and that worked for me. And then when I was done, of course, I found that. and added that to the head, and then some black paint to kind of sharpen the beak and where the eye is at. And again, just incorporating those colors into the background and into the flowers to bring some unity into that with the colors. It'd be probably good if I played some music, but I don't have any music playing, so you just get to listen to my rickety old fan. And then here I decided to kind of smudge those colors, wet my finger a little bit and smudge those colors on the background with my finger. I just felt that it blended a lot better. And then the wings just looked kind of out of sorts, like they didn't belong, so I covered those with black. And then used some metallic paints also for the wing. And I just love the way that this turned out. It's really nice and shiny. Just gives a nice feel to the little hummingbird. Then I added some green right at the center of the under center of the wings. And I really like the way that that looked too. I was trying to get used to this socialite that I have, and it was leaning up against my desk, so every time I touched the desk or moved the desk it would kind of shake, so sorry if it's a little shaky. And again, just incorporating those colors into the flowers and into the background. I just kind of like that grunge that this piece is having. It's got a lot of texture underneath from that paper, and then also the paper towel gave some really fun texture and thickness, and I'm a sucker for color and texture. And then just to kind of dull that color back a little bit so it wasn't, make it a little bit more subtle around him. Then there was some a saying that I liked, and I printed it out with different font and was just kind of laying it on there to see what font I felt worked best with it. And then when I got the one that I liked, I cut strips around that and laid them out so I could get a placement of how I wanted those on my page. Kind of played around with that a little bit, and then when I got it in a position that I liked, I went ahead and glued it on there with that gel matte medium. And this being my first video, there's sometimes where my project is upside down to you and sometimes where it's right side up to you. I apologize for that. The cool thing about this being my first video is it'll get better after this, so if I don't post this, I'll never post because I can't wait for perfection. It's not going to happen. So here around the pieces of the quote, I'm just kind of doing more scribble marks to match the scribble marks that's around the flower to also bring that cohesiveness back together with the piece. So I did that first before I glued them down. I'm kind of working on top of a craft mat, and I absolutely love them. Nothing sticks to them, so it's a great place just to get messy, and then I can, you know, of course, peel those chunks of paint or matte gel medium off and save that so I can use that for later. Give it a good dry. There's a couple places that were just a little too bright for me still, so I added some more gesso with my brayer and then kind of blended and smoothed it out with my finger. Here I'm watering down some of the metallic paints that I used in the bird and just kind of rubbing it over the paper quote just to kind of blend that into the whole project instead of it just being out there on stark white paper. So it's kind of like an applied wash with my finger. I really like sometimes just to play with my fingers in the paint. It's just very relaxing. make sure it's dry. And then I have a pencil. I don't think it's a Stabilo all pencil, but it is kind of like an Allscribe type pencil. Just kind of scribbling around the quote again, and then wetting my finger to bring out that smudgy look around the quote. And then I'm also using that pencil to give some of that or grudgy look around the outside of the journal, the outside of the page. And I really like the way that this piece turned out. So there you go. This is all done. The quote says, "Hold fast to dreams, for if dreams die, life is like a broken winged bird that cannot fly." So keep dreaming, keep pursuing those dreams, and have a great day. Thank you.